right. Good afternoon, sixth period.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cabrera.
Fantastically done for the camera. All right. This morning there's no soaps. Today it is yow. In your own words, rewrite what is on the board. Show me later. We're going to do an activity today. I'll check it then. All right. While you are yowing, I'm going to take roll. Jose is here, Omar's here, Ben is here, Lillian is here, Mario's here, Paula's here, Shan is here. Morning.
Morning. Sorry, I was next.
It's fine. Take out your notebook. Teresa, Jenny, Fiona, Jason, Ken, Tommy, Susie, Jinru, Vincent, Anna, Paul, Michelle, Vincent, Nick, Kevin, BC, Juan, Amy, Emiliano, Jake, Julia. Fantastico. Best back. If you're having trouble reading around me, this is also on the paper I'm handing out, just at the top. I saw you were here, so. Shouldn't take you too much longer if you haven't finished yet. Just give you a little bit of time. Oh, you don't need to copy this. I'm going to keep this. So you don't need to copy all of that. You're going to keep this. So okay. All right. Some of you are finished. Let's talk about this. Today we are talking about the Constitution. We've already talked about a lot of the arguments leading up to the Constitution. We talked about the weaknesses of the type of government we had before the Constitution, which was the Articles of Confederation. We talked about all the problems it had. And then we looked at the different arguments by the two different groups at the time. What was the first political party in the United States? Let's go with Shan. First political party. What are the two arguments that you, from the document you read last night? There were two people. Correct. And you can't really be a party if you're just anti-something. So who was the first party? The Federalists. Good. Yes. So the first party in the United States of America were the Federalists. Yes.
Did Whigs count?
Whigs were not really a political party so much because they didn't have like the sort of political power in the current system. So under the United States, the Federalists are the first political party. The Whigs will show up eventually again for a brief term before dying, but we'll get to that later. All right, so we examined the arguments of the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. What were some characteristics of the Federalists? Let's talk a little bit about the Federalists. Yes, Vincent.
The Federalists were usually the middle or upper class that wanted a stronger central government.
Good, yes. They were generally more elite, more powerful. Where were they mostly based? Let's go with Amy. Where were a lot of the Federalists? People who had a lot of money. Looking at this map here. People who wanted bigger government. Jason, where? On the coastal areas, good. And at this time, we didn't have a West Coast. We only had an East Coast. So just the East Coast. So Amy, where are they based? On the East Coast, good. Yes, repeating it, good. All right. So finally, they developed a compromise, right? After lots of arguing between the Federalists, the Anti-Federalists were against all of that, right? They wanted smaller government. They were afraid of smaller government. They were not based on the coast. They were based mostly further out towards the west. Political power starts moving towards the west in the country, in the new territories. They were not generally the wealthy aristocracy that had been in power before. Who was the big Federalist that we see in almost all the arguments that we have? Kevin?
George Washington.
No, the big one that we see in all the different papers that we saw. Hamilton, good, yes, Alexander Hamilton. He writes most of the Federalist Papers, and he came up in he's in 3 of the arguments that you read yesterday, and he is on. He's also on the other handout that you are going to turn in to me today at the beginning of class. All right. So ultimately we come to, let's actually review that before we collect this and look at Yao up here on the board. So take out your homework that you had, that worksheet where you looked at the Federalist and Anti-Federalist perspective on the new Constitution. Gonna say, I graded your homework on the Shays Rebellion document, Thomas Jefferson's letter regarding Shays Rebellion. Most of you didn't do so hot on that assignment. It's a close reading assignment, right? You need to read for understanding. You need to read for understanding. So for instance, one question that a lot of you got wrong was whether or not from Jefferson's point of view, the colonies were in chaos. Colonies were in chaos. Many of you said, yes, the colonies were in chaos, and you quoted what he quotes from the British newspapers. Did Britain like the colonies around that time? No. So they were constantly trying to tell the rest of the world that they were in chaos, right? It hurts their business. It would hurt the Americans' business, all this other stuff. And Thomas Jefferson's quote about that is he says, where do we see this anarchy except in the single instance of Shays' Rebellion, in the single case of Shays' Rebellion. So they were not in chaos. They were not in anarchy, right? For the most part, he says there's just this one action, and it's fine. This is what we want in our country. Heaven forbid we go 20 years without one of these, right? The tree of liberty must be watered from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Okay, many of you said that he would be for big government, that he would be pro-big government. But he doesn't want to change the Articles of Confederation, right? He's definitely not pro-big government. He's worried that at the Constitutional Convention, people will overreact and make too strong of a government for the nation. All right, so understanding that, I hope you were a little bit more critical in your reading of the documents last night. Let's just take a look at the first question there. I don't have it in front of me. Let me steal yours real quick, Kevin. So the first question here, we had Melancton Smith as the Anti-Federalist and Alexander Hamilton as the Federalist, looking at their 2 letters. The first question, is this person happy with how the new Constitution, which we're reading today, deals with representation? Deals with representation. Is this person happy? Is Melancton Smith happy? Let's go with 1. Is Melancton Smith happy? Wait, did you get it? Were you here yesterday? You were not. Okay, let's go with, instead, Tiffany. No. Why? More representatives, right? That there were too few representatives per population. Good. Yes, he was not happy because there weren't enough representatives, right? If there are so many people, then you need to have more people representing them. You can't represent so many people. There's a cap off. Okay. Good. Understanding that, so that's on the right page. If you didn't get that right, well, you'll get this back by Friday. So hand these in, pass these forward. I'd like to collect these now. Question.
For the who supports it, what do you mean, like Federalists or Anti-Federalists, or do you mean like people like Greek support since they have a direct democracy?
No, I mean actual people.
Never mind.
All right. I need someone to hand out some constitutions for me. Sure, Amy, thank you. I want these back. Please don't mark these up. They're in the back of your textbooks. I forgot to tell you to bring your textbooks today, so instead I just printed out the constitutions that are there. I'd like to keep these and recycle them. Please do not write in them. They're going to be used in an activity later on today. That's fine, I suppose. All right, while that is being handed out to you, you are going to see that you now have the preamble to the Constitution in 3 places. One is up on the board where I asked you to rewrite it. The next is on the first handout I gave you while you were doing that this morning, or this afternoon, beginning of class, that says outline of the U.S. Constitution. Please write in that first line preamble. On this worksheet I gave you, please write in that first line preamble and cross off preamble from the word bank at the bottom there. And then follow along as Jinru reads the preamble from the board to the class. Oh, sorry. As Mario reads the preamble from the board to the class.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution, the United States of America.